they can actually hear through that. We haven't tested it yet. Oh, and headphones. And this is just sound. This one.
Leaders aren't born, they're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching.
I can see the comments from here. People comment.
Is an international certification
like
program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching.
Damon Drake.
What's up, Damon? See, they can't hear that.
Can you see from there?
I'm going to try, see if I can pull it up. My computer is so terrible. All right, good morning and welcome to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela and we have an amazing show ahead of you today. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I see you all are joining us on Facebook. What's up? We tried to get real cute for you all today. So I have here at my side two amazing women who are doing amazing things in their lives, and I have to stop saying amazing, because now every time I say amazing I think of Donald Trump, because he says it so much. It's an amazing.
But it's different when you say it, Dr. Pamela.
I hope so, because he's in my ear every time I say the word, and that was my word before.
It's my word too. I love it.
Yeah, find a new word.
This is going to be an amazing show.
It's going to be an amazing show with all these amazing guests.
Amazing guests, yes.
So I'll let you two just say who you are, and then after we're going to I'll tell you who you are, and I'm going to let them introduce and tell all you do after, because I don't want to cut them short. So we have Dr. Taunya Lowe here.
Hello.
And she is, I'm not even going to tell you anything about her. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to let you get the full experience of who she is. And we also have here Tracy Washington.
Hey, hello, good morning, good morning.
So today's show is called Vision, Strength, and Passion. We're looking at the secret lives of business savvy women. So today these women are going to divulge the innermost secrets of their lives.
Ooh. Get ready. I hope you're ready.
We're ready. You don't normally get this for free. So, you usually got to pay for this. So you better tune in and get this information. So stay with us, 678-613-5857. Join the conversation, and we will be right back. Okay, so that was the quick.
What's the number again?
Right there, 678-673-5857. Okay. So,
what I did is got the link in it.
Okay.
And I can see people commenting. I wonder if
I can't see that far.
Well, I'm thinking if either one of you are able to pull the feed up on your
Yeah,
phone.
they're saying, PJ&D saying hi about the Larde, about the place saying hi
there. I'm trying to pull it up on my computer too. So I didn't do the full introduction because that was just a quick 2-minute intro. So we'll come back.
We'll come back to the reset, then go on to trending topics, okay?
Okay.
And
then talk about who they are.
Right. No. Do the reset. We're back. My guests.
Okay.
Then we go on to trending topics.
Okay.
So y'all ladies can say something at that time, very briefly, okay? So when she introduces you, just real quick, what you do and everything, then she's gonna go back to her and you'll say, "Now let's get into our trending topics." And pull your mic, twist yours. There you go.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused.
Was the
Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally.
I'm doing social media.
They
I'll be
usually
on
not.
it.
Web rapid text. Good morning, ladies.
What's up? They can't hear me. But it's so they're active early.
I was trying to get it on Twitter, but I'm.
What's the what is it? Oh, it's my Dr. Pamela page, DR. Pick that one. Yeah.
Oh, we're coming back. Remember, reset. When I go this and this, trending topics, okay?
Okay. All right, welcome back to Dr. Pamela Live. We probably got to mute that phone. We are talking about the secret lives of business savvy women, and I have here two special guests, and I will let them tell you about what they do. We first have Dr. Taunya Lowe.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Taunya Lowe. I'm a consultant and a riot starter, and I help organizations, particularly government and some individuals, find their riots. And I do that through training, consultation, strategic planning, and team building.
All right, wow. Has anybody been scared about the riot start? To me, it sounds exciting and fun. They're like, why are you starting riots?
Yes, people are afraid, but I want them to be afraid, and I want them to do it afraid.
Yes.
And later on, I'll tell them how they can work through their fear with a free gift.
Oh, I love it. All right, Miss Tracy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Good morning. Oh, well, what do? We do so many things.
That's always a hard question.
I know. It's like, what do I do first?
What am I doing now?
Right, exactly. Well, my name is Tracy Washington, and I'm a leadership development trainer, consultant, and coach. And primarily, I coach organizations on topics such as communication, team building, and relationships. And I also have an arm of my business where I coach women on how to have a voice, be bold, be confident, and be courageous.
Wow.
You know, so many times in the workplace, women don't speak up to ask for what they want. And that's why women are so underrepresented at the C-level and boardrooms. So I teach women how to have, show their power, stop leaking everywhere and stand up for what you do and who you are and the value you bring.
I love it, and that's one of the things I would love to talk about today is speaking up, and what does that mean to speak up? Well, and so that's so important. But before we get into all of that serious business talk, we're going to go into some trending topics. All right, so trending right now, I don't know if you heard about this, but according to Gossip.com, a cartoonist by the name of Ben Garrison, he's come under fire for depicting Michelle Obama negatively in a new sketch. Have you seen that?
I haven't heard about that.
No.
Tell us
and I almost brought it, and I didn't bring it because I wanted you to see the image. It's very shocking. But he basically, he's been accused of racism, and he portrayed Michelle Obama as very negative and, butch, which wouldn't be offensive if you were, butch lesbian, but she's not, right? And next to a pageant-ready Melania Trump. Okay, so he put, Michelle Obama and Melania Trump side by side, and basically with the headline of make the First Lady great again.
Wow, I think that is, it's very disrespectful to the office, to the position of the FLOTUS, and I think that just to women in general, so he's following along with this whole Trump mantra on Make America Great Again,
right.
But then you have to, anytime you attack a person's character, and that's definitely, I've not even seen it, but from what you've explained,
right.
anytime you attack a person's character, it's disrespectful.
Absolutely.
Right. And derogatory.
Very derogatory.
And that was probably the intent, But I will, honestly, I don't even know if I want to post it. Why circulate it?
Right.
I was going to say, I'll post it so we can all see it. We don't need to see it.
Right.
We get the idea that it's, but yeah, so apparently, he's been come under fire and called racist, and because of that, and I don't know that those claims are far-fetched.
Well, this is America. My mother used to always say, "This is America. This is where we live." So, the hidden message underneath these, pictures that we see do say something.
Yeah.
And I think we give the less that we give them energy, they're still there, but I think we have a responsibility not to give it as much energy as it, really needs to have. So,
Agreed.
It's there. This is it. This is the world we live in.
And I don't think that it's as hidden as it once was.
Oh,
I think it's very blatant and in your face today.
Absolutely.
And so I agree with both you and Tracy that, one of the ways that we can deal with it is not circulate it, not give it that energy, not pass it on.
not talk about it on radio shows.
Well, it is a trending topic, you know.
Yes, I mean, but you're absolutely right. And just to, make sure that when we are talking about it, we're talking about it in a way that doesn't glorify it. That,
Right,
this
right.
we won't tolerate this.
Right.
This is not okay.
Right.
So-
We are pushing back a little bit because I think we need to first of all, there are little girls that are watching.
Yes.
There are young people that are watching, and it just further, the message is just furthering this black, white, that we are somehow inferior.
Right. Well,
And
women are watching this, and we are striving. We look at as another microaggression that says, guess what? You want to be like her, you're going to get attacked. You want to be like her, she's not. She's not what we don't accept her. And so it's another way of saying.
So if you want to be acceptable, if you want to be an acceptable woman, be pageantry.
Yes.
And have, be pageantry.
be fake.
Right.
So.
Yes, we can get into that, but we're gonna move on.
Not that there's anything wrong with pageants.
Not that there's
However.
anything wrong with that, but that is not the only image of womanhood that exists.
No, we
Right.
have so many beautiful, amazing images in all different colors of the rainbow. And so, there.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to start off just by finding out, first of all, how the two of you got into what it is you're doing. And I know that's a loaded question because, first of all, asking what you're doing is a loaded question, but how did you get into it, is probably even more loaded. But if there's a way to articulate that, what was your journey? What was your road to where you are today?
Well, for me, I've always been my background is human services. So I've got a degree in public health, a degree in counseling and psychological services, and I always knew that I would do something in the helping profession, but not necessarily staying on that route of therapist for so long. So once I got through college, I knew that, I want to be a consultant. Even when I didn't know what a consultant was, I'd met enough of them. I'd been exposed to enough of them where I knew that's that's the path I want to go, move toward.
Okay.
And so I started creating internships for myself and learning skills and tools to put into my toolbox. As a speaker, I tell people I've been speaking since I was 5. My mother was a school teacher.
I love it.
So, we speak at church, we speak in the community, you're speaking. So you put all of that together, that knowing of what you want to do, and as you know it kind of starts to take form and shape. I would say for me, it probably took its full shape in 2008 after I graduated with my doctorate degree. I was recruited from a company to go and do some consulting for Deloitte and Touche.
Nice.
And so I thought, wow, I just kind of want to sit back and let my brain breathe from, this dissertation process.
Right.
And that was where I saw it for me really taking shape after working in government for so many years. Really just kind of stepping out and saying, if I'm going to do this, now's the time to do this.
Right.
So
that's interesting. So many pieces of that. I mean, even when you say that, you got recruited out, and you were kind of like, no, I want to chill for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you're good, you're good, and then when they want you, they want you. But Tracy.
Well, my journey is quite different. It started, I'd say, about 12 years ago. Personal tragedies, lots of change in life. Things happen, and I wanted to help hurting women. That's how it started. Lots of loss. And throughout my healing, I discovered a passion for helping other women heal in those areas of their lives where they're broken.
Wow.
So I started just speaking everywhere, anywhere, before I knew the business side of speaking. Don't do that. Don't do that. And so because of my own brokenness, I started to just go around and speak, and then I was introduced to I sat at the foot of my pastor back in Ohio, from Akron, Ohio. Go Cavs! Yeah, gotta give a little shout out, represent. But I sat at his feet and just learned a lot. Just really submerged myself into ministry, gave my life back to the Lord, and just really started to, just embrace this whole thing about love and healing. And it just started to snowball. I did, like a domino effect. I was introduced to the John Maxwell team through an associate pastor at my church, and John Maxwell is the #1 leadership expert in the world. And through that teaching and training, learning from John, that put me into a new environment. So between the hurting and being, I used to speak all over on grief. I was certified grief recovery specialist. So helping people through that transition, whether it be job loss, empty nester, death, many different things. So that led me to the John Maxwell team. And since then, I've been into the corporate world where I'm helping people with their relationships. So I have, relationships and how we all are wired differently and how people relate to one another. Wow. Because that usually is the source of our brokenness, people.
Oh yeah. Wow. I mean, so okay. So you already see that we have a great wealth of information that's going to be imparted today with very different paths, but I'm sure there's some similarities woven into all of that. Yes. Yeah. So we're going to come back. Stay with us. Give us a call if you'd like to join the conversation. 678-35. Nope. Ooh, that's my cell number. 678-613-5857. We'll be right back. Oh God, that's not the first time I almost did that.
What do you call the people? Trolls? I have my first troll on my Dr. Taunya Lowe page. What happened?
We're not going to require a bodyguard.
How do you get a troll in that?
You know we're never going to win the lottery. Right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for
So
saving at
are you friends with that person? No. So they're on your page. Your page is
It's on my Dr. Taunya Lowe page. I did a boosted post.
Okay.
People. Wow. Yeah,
That means you're doing something right.
I had some of that too, yeah. We had some of that on the show where people would type in like just vulgar stuff that we had to block during the show. Yeah.
This powerful yet short, detailed
I haven't had it lately though.
right now. Under
Why don't I see all the comments?
Oh, I just saw you think about the bag of bagel. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I figured I was too late anyway, so.
And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places
Pam,
like
let's come
the
into
Academy
the
of
research
Creative
session,
Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching.
I see like the
spiritual
first
coaching,
I see 4
relationship
comments. I
coaching,
know there's more than that.
executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world.
If you ever
Go
wanted to
Academy of
advertise my
Creative
commercial, if
Coaching.
you want to advertise,
So,
yeah.
I'm a dog,
Let me know.
and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just
Jay is
taking him
asking
around.
Marie
I think he's a pretty good boss.
Was that the
Without
latest
leash and
comment?
me guiding
Yeah, I've
him
seen the
along,
latest.
I
Okay,
think he's
yeah.
pretty good
Okay,
at
so
home.
I am seeing the latest. I just want to
Okay,
make
you
sure.
want live too?
Thing to happen to a shelter pet.
Our combat research.
The live
Brought to you by
broadcast.
the Ad.
All right, welcome back to the live exchange. Looking at a little bit of the research and some numbers here. According to entrepreneur.com, women own $10.6 billion worth of businesses in the United States.
Yes.
I would love to see the comparison number. Just curious, but but they only provided that what we bring to the table, which is quite a bit. $10.6 million businesses, and then we employ 19.1 million workers. So that's 1 in every 7 employees is employed by a woman. Yes. Yeah. And then our businesses account for $2.5 trillion in sales. And so
We got the money.
yeah,
We're doing it.
we're doing it. We're doing
Sisters
it.
are doing it for themselves.
Yes, and
And other people too.
right, and I know that the number is growing. And it's quite a bit for Black women in particular, that we are really moving and shaking when it comes to women-owned businesses. And so, and we are here, kind of representative of that. What's interesting, though, is that we, despite the fact that we have, such a huge mark on businesses, in this country, we still face challenges. There's still some of the challenges now, and this could be debatable because what I see happening politically is, the argument against Hillary is she's talking about all these women rights and women are fine. We don't need to. We're fine.
Men would be saying this.
It's men and women. So it's it's mostly the Trump folks who are saying, the woman card thing that came out. She's pulling out her woman card again, and she acts like women are victimized and women are this and that. And Hillary's platform is, I want jobs and equality and all this for everyone.
Right.
I happen to be a woman, and women happen to be part of the everyone, but I really want, and she is, pushing for equality in the workplace for women and that kind of thing. So is it hard, and I'll ask, are there challenges that you think you've faced being a woman that's unique to being a woman?
You want to go first?
I've been in environments where I was the only black and I was the only woman. Mm-hmm. So I think that for me, it was intimidating at first. And so, we kind of cower down because we don't feel like, or at least for me, I didn't feel like I fit. This is how I got into this space that I'm in now.
Right.
And I think the challenge for women who don't feel confident in their abilities is that, the doors aren't open, the opportunities aren't there. And so I always come from the mindset you have to create your opportunities.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because some opportunities are, you're not qualified.
Right.
According to other people.
Right. Well, and I don't want to say that again. Create your opportunities. Tweet and hashtag that. Mm-hmm. Create your opportunities and credit Tracy.
Right.
Yeah, you have to create your opportunities. So I tend to focus less on, more on what I can create rather than, because it's a mindset. Mm-hmm. It's a mindset. If you don't believe there are opportunities, then there aren't any. And there are doors that are shut in your face. And if you're in the sales environment, and most of us are, we have to hustle and, knock on doors. Yeah. We're used to rejection, but we know that for all the no's, that a yes is coming.
Absolutely.
And so we fail forward, and we fail forward fast. So we're like, okay, you don't see the value. I know that I'm valuable, and I know that I bring value. And so if I can't convince you of that, that's not really my job. My job is to provide value for you. And if you're not able to see that, then I'm just kind of moving on to the next person. But me, as a woman, I can't take that personally and let that stop me in my tracks from being able to push forward and move forward in that, where I believe that God is taking me. So I think the challenge more is in our minds than it is, in our society and our environment. Because I just kind of posture myself in a place where the answer is always yes.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love
the
that.
answer
That's
is
actually
always yes.
The name of one of my talks.
Yeah.
Because the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So with the answer being yes, the reality is there are challenges as a woman in business. I don't want to paint a picture that for women in business it's rainbows and unicorns.
True.
Even when you create, even when you create your own opportunities, because every opportunity that I've had, I've created it, or someone has helped me to create it. But yes, there are challenges, and I think as women, we've learned to overcome those challenges. We've learned to look at opportunities and look at other ways to deal with the challenges that come up, like. Right. Business development. In October I will have been in business 10 years, but I'm always doing business development. Mm-hmm. Networking. I don't have children, but a lot of my clients do. And so they're business owners who are struggling with how do I have this viable business and not feel the mommy guilt or not feel like I'm doing enough. So yes, there are women who as a woman entrepreneur, a woman boss, a woman riot starter, there are going to be challenges that men just don't face because men do their thing. They go and do their thing, and they don't think about challenges. But as a woman, you're faced with being a woman, and standing up and creating your opportunities for yourself. So. Which is a challenge within itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot there, and I definitely have some but we have to go to break. So, and I know some of you men are like, wait, what? We don't have challenges?
It's not about
Chime in. Go ahead, say what you got to say, and we'll be right back.
Wow, it seems like we have 10-minute segments.
Are they like that? No, or is it less?
Oh, okay.
She was saying we have like 10-minute segments. I don't even know.
Okay.
I think they're shorter than that.
Okay.
10 minutes is, we usually have about 4 minutes. Four, depending on the conversation and where it's going, the longest we'll go is like 4 to 5 minutes.
That's why I was saying it goes so fast, because it's chopped up.
Yeah.
So how much detail do you want us to go into? Like just sound bites?
Oh, no, you're doing well.
Okay.
You're doing good.
Right.
Anytime I hear a sound bite, I try to pull it out.
Okay.
With the whole creative thing, so yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
I was on a troll on my hands. And if I hadn't just watched that thing from Jay Stone about dealing with a troll, I would have ate her up.
Keep your energy focused. That just means you're doing something right.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you get on Periscope.
It didn't take them long either. I mean, you just started the page.
No, this is the Dr. Taunya Lowe page.
Oh, the okay,
No.
got it.
No, when somebody was in my community, I go to their house and beat them up.
By special qualified trainers in places like the Academy
Oh,
of
let me go there.
See if they're fresh. I'm not seeing them.
is an international certification.
The last comment I have is you clarifying who was on the show.
Spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and in the world. Go to Academy.
Okay, so it was you last? Okay.
Oh, we come back 4 minutes worth of talk and then balance challenge, okay?
Okay.
We're supposed to think about how many guitars we
4 minutes.
So just remember
Okay.
that and that. So I can't grab my board because I don't want to knock that out.
Okay.
So just,
America's team sucks.
nah, that's from the sports show.
This message brought to you by the American Institute.
All right, welcome back to the live exchange. I want to sing Hip Hop Hooray, but I'm going to resist. I'm going to resist.
Well, I'm about to my seat.
All right. We are talking about women, and we're looking at women in entrepreneurship and in business, with just business savvy women. And we have 2 examples, and I'll include myself in that, of what it means to be a business savvy woman. And we talked about a little bit about challenges, and we had couple interesting points of view. One, where Tracy's saying, challenges, but the biggest challenge is in my mind, and so I'm going to overcome that. And Dr. Taunya is saying, well, there are challenges, and we have to find ways to overcome them. And I see both as absolutely being the case. And for myself, what I've seen, and a challenge that hasn't really been brought to the table, is the challenge of interacting with other people. And so there are, for example, sexual harassment that I have definitely dealt with as a woman, and very sexist comments, statements, behaviors from, what is the word? Looking at me as if I'm an object and I'm just, I'm useful as, for the physical appeal, coming at me that way. But then also coming at me as if, I don't belong here. I don't belong in this room because I'm not one of the boys. So.
And I don't think that's something that is limited to just women entrepreneurs. That's something of when we talk about entrepreneurs, and then your intrapreneurs, women who are doing their thing in corporate, who that's where they want to be, and then your parallelpreneurs, women who are in a job, and then they've got their side hustle. And so I don't think it's that is something that is just limited. And I think that as a woman, we're going to be tried.
Absolutely.
We're going to be. Right. We don't take ourselves seriously. No one else will take us seriously. And so when we're faced with those, hey, I'll give you the contract if you let me see what's under your dress.
Right.
And
that happens.
Then we have to call it We have to call it out. We have to stamp it out, and then we have to operate in integrity. Just because, and it goes back to your values and everything. Just because you're a woman in business, you have to evaluate where are my ethics, where's my integrity, what do I operate and stand on?
Right. Where's my north?
Where's my north?
I don't think women need to devalue themselves to get those opportunities. No. I had a client who worked at a firm and felt that she needed to kind of quote unquote sleep her way to the top. And it's a self-worth issue, it's a self-esteem, and at the end of the day, after she did what she did, she still didn't get the position. And so now she's got the stigma, the scarlet letter, so to speak, and there's no respect from her counterparts. So I don't think that's my thing. As a woman, you need to be able to, first of all, not be afraid to lose.
Yes.
Wow. Not be afraid to lose, because you spend, a lot of your time and energy, money, effort to get to where you are in your position, in your life, whatever. And you're going to face these bumps. How you handle them strengthens your character. But you don't have to devalue yourself in order to, to move up. And so I think as women, and some of the challenges, again, I guess maybe my mindset statement, it all goes back to there at the heart of it all. It all goes back to how we feel and how we respond to those challenges, that we grow. And we can't change people. They are who they are. Yeah. If you're going to be a jerk, you're going to be a jerk.
You're going to be a jerk. Yes. And I have more, to add to that. But first, before we go into that, we're going to get into the balance challenge. I love that. So, balance challenge. Every week I issue a challenge for you to think about, to process, to do. I give you homework every week. So this week's challenge is, I want to know, and we're not all, and as Dr. Taunya said, we're not all entrepreneurs. We all have a place that we're supposed to be, and some of that may be corporate within a company, it may be our own company. What I want you to do is take the time this week to evaluate if you are where you are supposed to be. And I want you to analyze whether or not you are content and at peace with what you're doing every day, whether or not you're feeling that reward, if it's rewarding, and whether or not it is it matches your gifts and talents. So that's 3 things I want you to examine about what it is you're doing. Whether or not you have a sense of peace. Oh shoot, I forgot it. Whether or not you have a sense of peace.
Are you in the right place?
Are you in the right place? But how you would examine that is looking at the sense of peace and contentment, looking at your gifts and talents, and in whether or not it's just where you're supposed to be. I can't remember the third, but I will have the third for you. But I want you to analyze where you are through that lens. Does it reflect who you are as a person? And if it doesn't, then the next step is to start exploring. But first and foremost, I want you to really examine, am I where I really am supposed to be professionally?
I think that's a great challenge.
I think so too.
Yeah. So
a lot of people get up and don't want to go to work.
They dread it. They dread it. Yes.
Right.
And that's not what we want for you. So I want you to take that challenge in, and I will be back. I will also be posting it on my Facebook page, so you'll be able to see it if you missed it. We'll be right back.
I like that balance challenge.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what the 3 were. What was the 3?
I like that balance challenge.
Yeah.
That sounds like me. I'm like, what did I say?
I said, your peace, mind. Because I'm going to say it again in the next hour, so I want to make sure I got it right. Peace of mind, gifts and talents.
Life coaching and cultural competency coaching.
Oh, and fulfillment. That's what it was.
Hybrid or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower
All right, thanks for coming back.
Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
All right, welcome back. Hey, we got Dr. Taunya here. We have Tracy Washington. We are talking about women in business savvy women. So not just entrepreneurship, but just business savvy women and what it means to be and to be in that world. And one of the things I brought up, and I brought it up because this is something that I know I have faced throughout the course of my experience in business, which is the whole element of that male-female interaction, that sexual harassment, and it may, and it comes in many forms. And as Tracy was saying, it's a matter of integrity and how you carry yourself. But even for the woman who has a lot of integrity and carries herself well, how do you address that approach?
You just deal with it. I mean, I think where the integrity comes in, we all have choices. We can either go to the right, or to the left. And so, and everyone is responsible at the end of the day for the choices that they make. And so we can sit around and talk about it for, 50 years, or we can face it whenever it comes up. We call it out and we deal with it. And I think what a point Tracy made, we've got to stop being afraid and we have to open our mouths. But that's not the only challenge. As we're still talking about challenges. I can think about, when I first got into government, I was always the youngest one. So ageism doesn't have to just mean that you're an older person. You can be a younger person dealing with ageism. Absolutely. Being the only female, being the only African American, being the only person with a degree. And so, or being in that place of working on your degree and being slapped in the face, making you feel like you're less than because you have a degree and no one else does.
Right.
And so these are the challenges when, we raise our little girls up saying you can be anything you want to be, and then when they go into the workplace, they're slapped with, well, who do you think you are? And so we send mixed messages. We send them in the workplace and we send them in our families as well. And so I think a lot of people are stuck, and that's where the challenges come from, because it's like, well, how do I move past all of the mixed messages?
Right.
How do I go and be this great businesswoman, this business savvy woman? And I know for me, it was having a network of other people who had experienced some of those things, keeping my mind right. Mindset is I think the big umbrella of everything that we're talking about today, because mindset it's the root. If your mind ain't right, then ain't nothing else gonna be right. Now, tweet
That's
that.
true. That's tweet. Tweet hashtag. Right. And that's what I'm getting at is when I said that people tend to be the challenge.
Yes.
People tend to be the challenge because they want to objectify you in different ways. They want to find ways to put you in a box, and so
It's power and control.
Right. And so to me, just people can be in its own category of of challenges. But
we also have to think about, we're so quick to say they are stopping me, but then let's be real and talk about the challenges that we place on ourselves.
Absolutely.
Which, is not only is mindset, but then becoming prey to what they may be doing.
Don't let them succeed.
And then the challenge of us not operating at 100%. See, I believe that a lot of people operate less than where they are.
Oh yeah.
And I say 50%, but that's being kind.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say Pamela's not letting me advance in my career, Tracy's not giving me the contract, but it goes back to mindset and opportunity, keeping your mind right and going after the opportunities and not creating you being your biggest challenge.
You cannot be the victim.
Right. The entrepreneurial journey is one of growth. When you start off in your journey of opening up your business or whatever, it's a growth journey because you're going to face challenges from the outside and challenges from the inside.
Yes.
The internal challenges. So as you run into these challenges, for me, there are opportunities for growth, and they are showing me how I respond to them, or what do I need to overcome, or why is this affecting me so? Why am I so upset by what they said, or why, and rejection hurts and all those other things. But I think it's at the end of the day, the entrepreneurial journey, business ownership is about growth. Right. You can't grow the business any more than you grow the owner.
Ooh, that's good. Another hashtag.
Yes.
You can't grow the business any more than you grow the owner. And with that, we are going to go to break, and we will be right back.
I had to remember
remember what I'm thinking in my mind.
Aren't born, they're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the
There's something you said I was going to respond to, and I cannot remember what it was.
Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement. Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know you're probably just a little bit nervous.
You can find it in yourself to take that first step to improve your future. You can do this. I know you can. You need to start pushing yourself. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
All right, Pamela, you come back, do the reset, and you're going to have 5 minutes worth of talk. Then you go into love notes, okay?
Okay. Create your GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can share it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, this is how to be yours.
Yeah, I took what she had and copied. Okay, I copied it.
Okay, I was going to say that's a lot. I copied it all. Because I wasn't part of your, I wasn't on your business page or your radio, so I got to join that.
Okay, yes,
Live
I
exchange. Okay.
Dr. Pamela.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a live exchange?
There is a live exchange page, but most people don't engage on that. And
Your parents open from your Dr. Pamela?
yeah, they engage from Dr. Pamela.
Okay.
Much more than that. Business page. I don't know why. I guess they think it's more personal.
My business page is just going to be about business information, and my engagement is going to be in the group.
Yeah, well, that's what's been happening. Well, not in the group, but on my All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I am Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about the secret lives of business savvy women. And that title was derived from a book that I'm releasing called The Secret Lives of an Obsessed Entrepreneur.
Okay.
And so, in which we divulge the secrets, you know, some of them, about what it takes to become an entrepreneur. But today we are looking specifically at the woman's experience. And we've talked about challenges. And the reason why I really wanted to delve into some of the challenges is because, and I think you both made this point very well, in that it's those who can overcome those challenges that really make the difference. That's kind of what separates the women from the girls, so to speak. And I know a lot of people who've attempted to do things, and there are just a lot of things that hold them back. You know, children, blah, 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 blah. But there are women who have the exact same challenges, and they're thriving, and they're doing well.
To me, you become resourceful.
That's the key.
The harder the challenge, you know, if you can develop the mindset of not giving up and persistence and consistency. And one of the authors, I forgot her name, she calls it grit.
Angela Duckworth.
That's right.
See, we read.
That's right, yeah, we read. And you got to have that, you know, no matter what. You have to have kind of an all or nothing attitude and say, okay, even if I need to delay this for a few years, I had to do that. You know, I've raised children. My sons are grown, and I have grandchildren now. And so I wasn't an entrepreneur then, but I had entrepreneurial dreams. So I had to delay because I said, well, I need to get them in, you know, out of school and all that before I start my journey. So I just put it on hold. I don't really advocate that now. If I could go back and do it all over again, I'd do it a little differently. But you know, you keep at it. It's like, this is the only life. What is it? YOLO? Is that what they say?
YOLO once.
Yo, this is it. You know.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep going and find a way to make it work. And as long as you're looking for answers and solutions and not looking at the problem
and
the
excuses
and excuses,
you can always find.
You can always find the answer. It may not look like rosy and peachy, but that's the answer.
Right. And I have a hard time, and I may be too hardcore, but I have a hard time with excuses, and I have very little patience for it. It's one of the things that I think I need to, one of those job interviews where they say, what's your weakness? Mine would be like having patience for people who have excuses. I have such little patience for that, because I came out the gate with the challenge. I had a child when I was 18, and I went through college with him, and master's degree with him, and PhD with him, and to me, I felt like there's nothing I can't do.
Right.
There's nothing.
But you know what? I think one of the things as an entrepreneur, when we have teams, and this is kind of a setback, is that we evaluate everybody based on us,
our experience,
and that's not fair to the other person, because I'm thinking about a client that I have now. She's pulling her hair out because she's like, why can't they do it? And I said, you know what, everybody's not made like us. That's true. And when you start your business, you bootstrap. And you do everything. Yeah. But then as you grow, you've got to trust other people, which is a challenge. You've got to take the time and not make assumptions. We're talking about challenges and the secrets. A lot of times I don't want to take that time to explain to you what to do. I want you to come in and do it. But you know what? None of us come out of the box already assembled.
You're absolutely right.
So we've got to train our teams up. Being a part of the John Maxwell team, that's what we learn. You've got to train your team to do what needs to be done. And no one does anything great alone. And so it makes us have to step back and look at ourselves, which we don't like to do. We only like to look at the shiny parts of ourselves. But if we turn ourselves upside down, we see that dusty part. Like when you go to your house, you pick up a vase and it's all dusty underneath. It's so and then you look inside, the spiders and the cobwebs. That's the part we have to look at and work on that part, because in order to be those women that in the statistics that you spoke about, in order for them to reach the heights that they made, they have to have strong teams.
Oh yeah,
and they had to step back to make those teams come up. And it's learning how to work with someone who, we feel it's an excuse. They see it as a challenge, and then we have to help them to meet that middle of the road. Right. Let me help you turn that excuse into something that we can work with.
Right. Right. And this is me turning the vase over and looking at the dusty side of me. This is me being transparent. Right. That's my challenge.
Yeah. So Dr. Pamela, you might need a coach, and I'd love to work with you.
See how that works.
That's right. When I do training, I tell people all of us have olive crushers in our life. And people look at us and say, okay, what are olive crushers? Well, in the Mediterranean culture, the olive tree is a representation of wealth. What makes the olive tree wealthy is the oil inside the olive. And how do you get the oil out of the olive? You have to crush it.
Yes.
So people are like olive crushers because they bring out the best in you. Until they come around.
I love it.
Until they come around, you don't know that you have these I will say imperfections in your character. You don't know these
when I'm working solo.
Yeah, whatever. You're just doing what I had to work.
When you're working by yourself, it's all good.
Like, right. I'm doing me. Right. Doing me. Right.
That is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So that's part of the leadership growth.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have a love note, and so we're going to go into Dr. Pamela's love notes.
All right.
Okay. So we have a love note from Carolyn, and she says, "Dear Dr. Pam, I'm interested in starting a business this year. I don't want to give away my idea because you will read my question on the air. I sure will. But it involves children and networking. All I currently have is an idea. Could you give me some tips on how to get started?" I'm gonna let you all jump in.
So what now?
Okay, so she's interested in starting a new business this year. She doesn't want to give away her idea, so she doesn't want to go into detail about what it is, but it involves children and networking, which is interesting. I'm not sure how that works. it would have helped if you had expanded on that a little
Sure.
bit. But all she currently has is an idea, and she wants to know if we can give her some tips on how to get started with the business.
Well, the first thing that I would suggest is find out who's doing something similar to what you're doing, and not to copy them, but to really get an understanding of what it is you think you may want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So many people come to me with, it's working with children, it's my passion, but what they want to do is not going to make them money. And so really get an idea of, connect with someone who's doing what it is that you want to do. The second thing, from that point, if you feel like it's a business, it's a viable business, then go ahead and start putting your systems in place. And the first one would be coming up with a brand market strategy, something that, being 9.5 years into my business, that I've just done. So you don't feel like you're throwing stuff at the wall hoping that it'll stick, but that you have a strategy and a structure to grow your business and get the word out.
I would say, I would piggyback on that to say pretty much the same thing, copy that, but find out whether, it is a viable business. Can you make money from it? Because a lot of people talk about, I have a passion for this. Well, you can have a passion for a lot of things, but it's not a business, it's a hobby.
Uh-huh.
So to find mentors, find people who, as she mentioned, are doing it. And get really clear. I'm a marketing person. I love marketing, branding, and all that. Get very clear on whether or not who is your market, and will they have the money to pay for the problem you solve.
Okay. All right. Well, and I have one, but we'll wait. I'm going to make you wait for mine when we come back on the live exchange. Good stuff. So, okay, Timothy, love it. Keep the motivation
Leaders
coming.
aren't born, they're made.
Anita,
And not
best
just
life
anyone.
lesson.
They're made in special places by
Okay.
special qualified trainers in places
Did you get
like
these
the
up here?
Academy
Yeah,
of
I'm seeing them
Creative
now.
Coaching. The Academy of Creative
Learning the
Coaching
value of
is an
trusting in spite of
international certification
trusting
program
people is
with
hard.
courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching,
Oh, those are the
life
ones you're
coaching, and
answering the
cultural
ones on
competency
Yeah.
coaching. Courses are online,
I like
hybrid,
that.
or
I gotta try
face-to-face.
Facebook.
The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to Academy of Creative Coaching.
All right, welcome back to the live exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and I have here with me Dr. Taunya Lowe and Tracy Washington. Hey, we're talking about the secret lives of business savvy women, and we just had a letter, a love note that came in from a young lady who'd like, I'm just assuming young lady, I don't know, who's interested in starting a business. A listener who is interested in starting a business, and we got some really great tips from these two here, which was, essentially find the right people to attach yourself to, mentors who are doing the work, get a marketing plan together. And for me, my big one is learn the business. There are a lot of people who just say, for example, I have a publishing company, and I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to be a publisher, and they wake up the next morning, they put up a website, and they do that with coaching too. I'm going to be a coach. They put up a website and print some business cards, and they're a coach. Be careful.
We don't have time for that.
So my thing is learn the business. Right. Learn the ins and outs, the highs and lows, whatever you need to learn about the business. Before I got into publishing, I spent 3 years doing the research, learning about it. Now I dabbled by doing some of my own work, but I wanted to go through the entire process a number of times. I published professionally with an established company several times before I started my own, so I needed to understand the author's experience as well as the publisher side of the experience. And so I cannot stress enough, learn the industry. Don't just learn the job or the segment of the industry you want to do. Learn the industry and get a solid understanding of that.
Absolutely. Like I said in the beginning, when I started speaking, I didn't know the business side. I just wanted to speak. I would just knock on doors. Hey, can I speak? And of course they'd say, yeah, come on in. I get to get paid for it though.
Hey, you got the experience under your belt.
Yeah, I got the experience. That was a good outcome, but yeah, get paid.
And well, I think the other side of that is, you know, so many times people go into something without the experience or the evaluated experience, and they expect to walk away with a big fat check, and it doesn't work that way. You've got to work up to getting paid.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be a speaker, and people ask me all the time, well, how do you do what you do? I'm like, do you really want to know? Then you may have to go and speak for free. But that's how you're going to understand how to craft your story. See, although everybody has a story, every story don't need to be told the way you tell it.
Right.
And you don't learn that. You don't understand that unless you practice speaking, because nobody is going to pay you for therapy. So some of your stories that you tell, you need to tell to a therapist, and then they can help you craft your story. Toastmasters is a great place to go and learn how to craft your story, because everybody has a story, but everybody doesn't understand how to share their story in a meaningful way. Some people stand in their story instead of on their story. And so you might need to speak for free for a while until you can figure that thing out.
Absolutely. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, and
amen. They said it, I think it was in Muhammad Ali said it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. 10 or 20.
And I believe it.
Yeah,
you believe it. And the same is true, you know, with authors. We hear stories of authors who submit their manuscripts to companies all the time, and they get rejected, and then next thing you know, they've got accepted in their New York Times bestseller or whatever. But we hear these stories.
You gotta have that perseverance, that grit, that tenacity, which is something that that we don't see so much of. And so when we do see it, you know, I think as women in business, we cling to it, like, wow, she's doing it. And she's not saying it's add water and mix, but that I've had some challenges, and this is what I did to overcome those challenges, to keep going, to keep sustaining.
Well, you know, another challenge that I have faced is, you know, and I'm learning about what to divulge, what not to divulge, and that kind of thing. Still in that learning process, but copycats. You had mentioned the word. So you had mentioned the word. You know, learn from somebody, get a mentor, learn their, you know, what they do, but don't copy them. And I wrote that word copy down, because it's like that has happened on several occasions. I've had, you know, several people who are very much intrigued by what I do, and I will bring what I do to them, and next thing you know, they've got a website with like dang near everything I do, including the name,
and probably your copy too.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, and so it's my question to you is, how do you handle that? How do you protect yourself from copycats? And is being copied just a form of flattery that you shouldn't worry about, or, you know?
I think copying is a form of laziness. I really do. You know, and I always tell my clients, don't fall into copycat syndrome, because it keeps your creativity, it keeps your gift stifled. Because if I'm trying to, okay, Dr. Pamela's doing it, so I'm just going to copy everything she does, and so it hides your gift. It affects your credibility as well. I think Tracy said it earlier. There's so much to go around. So find your space, find your niche. Work with a coach if you're having a hard time taking the content that you have and putting that into a viable product. Trademark your stuff, copyright your stuff, but I mean, you can't. I mean, you'll be tied up in court and trying to fight people. Just do your thing. Do your thing.
Two things. First, stay in your lane. You know, if somebody is copying you, they can't sustain it. Because as you grow, it won't work. So, you know, it's like, okay, well, that's cute that you copied me, but let's see how you sustain that, because you can't, they're not you. And like, you know, I said earlier, we're scarcity mentality. It's a scarcity mentality instead of abundance, and you don't get the opportunity. You cheat yourself out of the opportunity to grow. To write what you write took you, it's a journey. It's an internal journey, and they're stealing something that hasn't happened. And so they're trying to emulate what you've done, but they can't sustain that over the long run because that's not them. Instead of looking at their own lives to write from their own perspective, because there's an audience that's just for them, but they delay that process the longer that they're copying
You're
from
focused
you.
on the wrong thing.
Yeah,
and there is a difference between, learning different frameworks for how things work and creating your own.
There's a difference.
Or duplicating a framework that isn't yours. So that's called plagiarism in the writing world.
Yes.
But anyway, we are going to break, and when we come back, and give us a call, 678-613-5857. We'd love to hear what you have to say. And we will be right back. Gosh, I'm not even like.
So where are we now?
I haven't even been pulling from this. We've just been talking. That's good though. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out which point I want to go with. Is it here's your word grid?
Yeah.
It's starting to get to me. Oh, maybe that was just a little bit of milky air. Is that what happens?
No,
the air.
Yeah.
Okay. A minute. Okay. I'm like, that's not right.
All right, we're back. Huh? Oh, look at that one.
Okay.
That one's going on.
No, that one I did.
Okay. All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. We are at the top of our second hour, and I am Dr. Pamela. Today we are talking about the secret lives of business savvy women. It's a recipe of vision, strength, and passion.
Yes.
And much more, much more. And I have here today with me Dr. Taunya Lowe and Tracy. I was going to say you're with the Resurgent group. I'm trying to memorize too much. And Tracy Washington. And if you wouldn't mind just saying what organizations you have begun and what you're a part of for our audience that may be just joining us.
Okay, so I'm Dr. Taunya Lowe with the Resurgent Group of Metro Atlanta. That is the legal name of my company.
Okay.
And so we have two brands, drtanyalowe.com, where we work with companies and corporations, some individuals, helping them with their training, personal professional development training, a lot of their mental health. I train their clinicians, government contracts, coaching, consultation, a lot of consultation. And then we've got the Riot Starter movement, which is designed to help people start a riot for their life, their business, and their career. And so there are too many people that are stuck being mediocre and average. And so the movement came from the book that I wrote about almost 4 years ago, Want to Start a Riot, Change, Affirmations, Confirmations, and Prayers. And the whole concept is that whenever we want to do better, be better, grow better, get better, there's always someone there who is usually someone closest to us saying, not now, you've got kids, you're married, you're black, you're from the South, you can't do it. And the reality is you can do it. Everything that you want to do, you already have it inside of you to do. You just need to do it. You might need some help doing that. And so that's what the movement is all about. And we just started a great tribe on Facebook, Riot Starter Nation. One of the things that I've learned from working with my clients is one of the reasons people don't start riots in their lives is because of fear. Mm-hmm. And so I'll tell you how you can get a free workbook to help you deal with that fear for your listeners that can get that workbook.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. My name is Tracy Washington. Legal name of my business, since we're talking legal names. Zayden Enterprises Management, which is we do a couple things. I have some real estate holdings. And also a coaching, Tracy Washington Worldwide. My DBA is Tracy Washington Worldwide, where I have a leadership consulting firm where I do leadership coaching, training, and speaking for companies, and specifically train and coach women on how to speak up and be bold and courageous and have confidence in the workplace. So specifically for corporate women, because we have a certain set of challenges that are unique to us, and sometimes we are not able to handle that, and that's why women are so underrepresented in the C-suite and in the boardrooms. So being able to take women into a group, I have a roundtable, executive leadership roundtables, that I'm doing across the country where women come together peer to peer. We meet once a month, virtually and in person, depending on the location, where we talk about the issues, not just talk about the issues, because I don't want to, I'm just belaboring the point. We hear all in the news about women.
Yes.
What is a solution? And so that is an internal working. So we talk about the internal workings and also what women are doing from peer to peer at their organizations. So in different industries. So that is what I do.
All right. Well, we're going to go to break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about both their experiences, but also I'm very curious about dating and what that's all about for the business savvy woman or marriage. Love. Let's just call it love.
We'll call it love.
Yeah. Love. We'll be right back. Okay.
This is good. That time went by fast.
I know. And I still have so much content here I haven't covered. And I'm sitting here trying to memorize your companies. It's right here. I put it here so that I will remember.
I don't memorize.
All I have to do is read it, but I forgot I had it written here.
My name some days.
When things are flowing, it's like I don't want to look down there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just throw you off.
I want to look at you when I'm talking. So.
Radio not dumbed down. What does that mean? Oh.
This basically means intellectual.
Okay, I like it.
High level thinking. Is that how you describe it, Sean? Radio not dumbed down?
Yeah, because everybody talks about the dumbing down of America, especially when it comes down to broadcasting. Dumbed down music, dumbed down intellect. I mean, if you listen to any urban station right now, that's pretty much what we have a good time, but that's all they push.
Right.
You ain't doing it big, you ain't doing it nothing, whatever. So I just thought it was time for us to do radio not dumbed down, and that's what the urban station is all about. All right, come back, talk a little bit, then we're going to trending topics, okay?
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange with Dr. Pamela. Today we are talking Secret Lives of Business Savvy Women. Really curious. Do you remember, if you think back, what was your first paid gig? And how did that go?
My first paid gig as a business owner or ever?
Well, whichever, what is the more interesting story? That's a good distinction, though.
Yeah. I can remember.
Maybe as a
I can remember both.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can remember mine. I remember I was in Ohio, and I think it was in Columbus, and I was asked to speak at this women's event, and I didn't have product at the time, and I said, okay, I'm going to speak at this event, and I need something. So I stayed up pretty much all night recording a CD. Ran to Kiko's that was open 24 hours. Now it's called FedEx, but I ran there because it's open 24 hours and had it, the little big, thing of CDs that you can get like 100 of them. I had like 50 copies made, and I stayed up all night feeding the labels through my printer and stuck them on. And so I drove down and I did a presentation, and I was getting a check. Praise God. But I didn't know anything about I didn't really know about the back of the room sales, but I just knew that I had seen that done at other events. And I'm like, I should have something. And so I literally went to a grocery store and got like a journal. And that was, I didn't have a bowl for business cards or anything because I had no business experience. And I had people write down their names, and I was selling my CDs for $10. And I think the title of the CD was Being a Woman of Power. And I remember I walked away from that, and I'm like, I got money! Oh my God, I got a check! And I sold some stuff, so that was exciting.
That was the beginning.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
That's a great motivator. For me, my first gig for my business was a contract that I won for DeKalb County Board of Health. It was like $8,000. Nice. I was so excited. It was right after I come back from the contract.
That's a good first gig to get. That's a good amount for first.
Yeah. So the contract with Deloitte was it was the start, but to come back and really put some grit into it and make something happen and create an opportunity, it would be that contract.
Wow, that's cool. And I have to tell mine as well. Mine came from my dad bragging about me to my neighbor and saying, well, my daughter she has a PhD. And
won't they do
it? And so that neighbor happened to need a trainer for trauma and had asked me, asked my dad, did she know anything about trauma? And he said yes, and the answer was no, I didn't. But I did know, I had some other things under my belt that was related to resilience and self-motivation. And so when I spoke to her, I was very honest about, here's what I do. And she said, can you fit that into a trauma training? I said, absolutely. My answer is never going to be no.
Never.
So my answer was yes, I can do that. And I spent that week just, doing the research, doing everything I could. I mean, I was trained to be a researcher and putting together an 11-page proposal that I happen to think was pretty phenomenal, that they accepted, and I got the gig. I got the gig. But my lesson, the lesson learned in that is the answer is yes. You figure it out. But the answer is yes. And when I speak to audiences, I say, well, what if they ask you to dig oil wells? What's your answer? And I say,
I got somebody on my team that can do that.
And we can tailor our content to fit oil wells. Yes. So the answer is yes. But gosh, commercials. We have to do the commercials.
You gotta eat, right?
Yes. Actually, yes. We're not doing a commercial right now. We're doing trending topics. Thank God for my producer. He keeps us in line. Trending topics. So big news for Atlanta. Big news.
Okay.
News, drum roll.
Yay.
It's old news now. Everybody probably knows about it by now. But the next Super Bowl, not the next Super Bowl, Super Bowl 2019 will be held here in Atlanta. Woo! At our new stadium. Hopefully that stadium will come together. It will be ready by then.
Oh, it will be.
It's going to be ready by the next season, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know.
No, probably not by the next season.
There are business opportunities for people if they are listening. Get ready.
Yes, pay attention.
That's right. Get ready. What business can you build around the Super Bowl?
Hello.
Money's coming to the city.
All right now. And even what kind of business can you build around the stadium that's being built?
That's right.
I have a Life Coach Academy, and I just partnered with a fitness center, a fitness training facility that is opening like just right down the street from that stadium. And the opportunities, for him who's doing training of professional and professional aspiring athletes, and for myself to be able to have that platform for health and wellness training, people interested in health and wellness coaching. So talk about seizing the opportunities.
That's right,
when something big like that is happening in your city,
that's right.
You better put your ear to it
and create those opportunities.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Opportunities have a window, and once they're closed, they're closed. So you got to be able to recognize it when it comes. Sometimes it comes quick. That's why it's too late to get ready when it comes. You got to be prepared.
Yeah. You can't be talking about I'm getting ready.
I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to get ready.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Because I got to do something to get ready, and I'm almost ready.
And then it'll be over,
and it's done,
and you'll miss it.
Right.
You're like,
I was trying to get ready
next
time.
Women do that. Women are notorious for doing that. That's another topic. That's a confidence issue. But we're always getting ready.
That's a good segue because I have experienced men who do that. That drives me crazy. So I have to work on my patience, Dr. Taunya.
It's not just limited to women,
when I, for example, like when I was married, and great guy, you're a great guy, but he likes to think things through, like to the ad nauseum. Just like I want to think about. I want to, and just considering how long it takes for him to get to an idea, from idea to
implementation.
Does he have to do spreadsheets?
Oh my God! When I told him I was going to get my PhD, I told him I was going to get my PhD. His response was, "I want you to write up a report that outlines how this is going to financially benefit our family."
Okay, that was smart.
No, I didn't do it. No. My answer was no.
It sounds sounded
put
good.
that energy into applying for the program. But we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the male dynamic and the dating and the marriage and the relationships when we come back. All right.
All right.
So look at this computer. See, this I need investment. Oh, snap.
Get Mac.
Very good. You read my mind. You see what I was writing down.
What were you writing down? Segue to love life. Yep. See?
That's when you tell people been working together for a minute.
See?
Advocate, volunteer, Live United. Take the pledge now at liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and
He's a good coach. He's got me working on some things. So he's a good coach. He's got me working on some things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments in my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing.
Let's do let's get the research out of the way, so then we can go into the love life and dating thing, okay?
I'm determined
Okay.
that I had to have Christ first.
Actually, so the love thing of people listening to the
desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ. And He got us to that ultimate victory.
Are we connected?
I'm Tony Dunn.
I think so.
I am second.
Leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy.
So after this commercial, we'll
of
come back
Coaching.
into the research, all right?
Creative coaching
Okay.
is an international
And then you can just
certification
break off and
program
segue into
with
your
courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual
dating
coaching,
and the business
relationship coaching, executive coaching,
Oh,
life
this is
coaching,
good
and
stuff.
cultural
Yeah, we're gonna get
competency
to that.
coaching.
There's so much I'm not
Online,
getting.
hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to Academy of Creative
All right, Pam, ladies, coming back.
What are people saying? I gotta come back there. I can't see it.
All right. Welcome back to the Live Exchange. Just to give you some more numbers and some specifics about women entrepreneurs in this country. The number of businesses owned by African American women specifically grew 322% since 1997. 1997 is a long time ago, but in that time frame, I guess that's the last 20 years, African American businesses have grown by 300%, which is pretty huge, making Black females the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs in the United States. And this is not the first time I've heard that, and it's evident. I mean, living in a city like Atlanta, you just see it. That's just the norm. That's just it is what it is. You know, when I lived in other cities, not so much the case.
Right.
It's very different than what I'm seeing here.
Me too.
You know, overall, the number of women-owned businesses grew by 74%. Between 1997 and 2015. That's a rate that's 1.5 times the national average. And then women now own 30% of all businesses in the U.S., accounting for 9.4 million firms. Wow, that's a lot. And African American women control 14% of these companies, or an estimated 1.3 million businesses. So that figure is larger than the total amount of firms owned by all women of color in 1997. So African American women are we're doing it.
Yeah, that's right. We're doing it. That's amazing. I experienced. I'm from Ohio, so I experienced a culture shock when I came here. I'm like, everybody's in business. Like, everybody, and that was a culture shock for me because I didn't see that at home. So those numbers are just staggering because it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because women some of us, all of us, I think, have been in a corporate environment, and when you get to a certain age, we see the millennials starting right out of college, or not going to college at all, starting businesses. But some of us who, had the old school of thinking that you went to college, and there's no indictment against college, because I believe in education. But we find that we've got skills and value that people aren't appreciating us for. So, hey, let's start a business.
Right.
And, this entrepreneurship thing wasn't, going around when I was like, 20, 22.
Not that I knew of, but I always had ideas. I always had things I wanted to start. But and one of the things that that I've read earlier was that businesses are often started to fill a gap.
Yes,
to address a problem.
Yep. That's how I started. That's how I started my business. To fill a gap. I'd worked for the state, and then a company I worked for before I left to take the contract with Lowe. They lost their funding for training and technical assistance for the state providers. Well, that was something that I did for that company, and so then I started doing it for myself. I made it a part of my business, and so and that sustained my business for years before I added the personal development component.
Wow. Yeah, and that's what you do. I mean, and I'm sure that all of us see the gaps and see the things that might be needed within either society or within the corporate world. When I was in the corporate world, my whole thing was, we need childcare within the, because again, I was that single mom, and I thought, it'd be so awesome if there was a childcare facility downstairs, and so for a minute there, I was like, maybe I should start, and I was going to call it corporate care, for children, but I realized I want to be around other people's kids. So that just wasn't for me, but it's an idea I'd love to pass on to somebody else and help them create.
That's a good point. That's a good point that you bring up about ideas. Because a lot of times people have ideas, but sometimes the idea is not for you. They jump off on it and they're like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to leave corporate America. I'm going to start a business. And they end up back in corporate America because it was just an idea. And it might not have been for you, or it might not have been the right time. And you have to think it through. It's the question that you asked earlier about entrepreneurship, actually thinking it through. It's like, do I really want to do this? Because when the hard times come, am I going to be able to stick with this?
You gotta be married to it. It's or think of it as your child. It's so you're going to do whatever you need to do to breathe life back into your child on those rough days.
Absolutely.
When it's hard.
Nobody else is there.
So that's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
You and your computer.
Right.
With a glass of
No
Cabernet.
No sleep.
Right. Oh man, did we ever know that? Yes. Well, there is the whole dynamic of having a significant other while being, a business owner. It can have its benefits, it can have its challenges. It is what it is. It's another part of life and how we deal with it. What's interesting here from Inc.com. Traditionally, or typically, women view men who exhibit the classic entrepreneurial traits of grit, tenacity, strength, and leadership as desirable partners. Tend to gravitate more to men with these qualities. Men, by contrast, may view women who with these traits as bossy or suspect that they will have trouble compromising or settling into domestic bliss. Now, I've seen that. I've also seen men who can totally handle it. So,
let's see, where do I start? Okay, how much time we got? No, I'm just kidding. I think first of all, you have to have harmony, values, and your partner, what works for your house. I'm married to an entrepreneur, so we get each other. If the vacuum isn't ran in 2 months, nobody's tripping. Nobody is tripping about it. It's like, hey, we're going out to eat tonight because I know, it's been a long day. So that's what works for our house. So I think, if it's not that case, and I know that that's not, true for everybody. So when one person maybe emerges from another environment and goes into business ownership, or that there is a conversation that needs to take place about support. Do you support what I'm doing?
Do you believe in what I'm doing?
Do you believe in me?
Yes.
Do you believe in me? Knowing that if all the money is, I'm in the red in my bank account, that you're not going to judge me and tell me that I need to go back and find a job because, so I need you to, do you believe in me, and will you be there to support? So I think a lot of conversation needs to be had around the vision, what you're doing, why you're doing it, what is your, what is the outcome, and the journey. Are you willing to take this ride with me? Are you going to be my ride or die?
Right.
Because it's going to be some dying, some stuff.
For sure. We're not going to be riding all the time.
They're going to be riding all the time. No, ma'am.
And if their eyes glaze over when you're talking about what you're doing, that's a good sign right there. That,
this might not be too much for you.
Right. Because there's some sacrifice, and the family has to sacrifice.
Too. Sacrifice. Well, even from the single perspective, I dated a guy. We dated for a very long time, and I thought that because we were both entrepreneurs, that wow, this is bliss. This is great because he gets it, and I worked a lot and he worked a lot, and everything we did was around work, and so it was just cool because I love what I do. And then it was when we stopped dating, and then I dated someone who was a W-2. I thought, oh my God, this is gonna drive me crazy, because it's like, well, what time you get off work? When I'm done, well, what time are you gonna be finished? Like, oh my God, you're like getting on my nerves here. And so, but what that taught me was to make a place for him that, hey, he gets off at 5 o'clock. Right. And so, and then having that conversation around, hey, I'm working on a project. I don't know when it's going to end. And just opening your mouth, having that communication, but then also realizing that, okay, you can't work until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning every single night. You got to make some time, make some adjustments. Right. So, so that worked for me because he gets it, and so that. But then there are some people that don't get it. Yeah. I've had some clients who, how can you help me make my husband get it? And I'm like, because they're viewed as, this is competition. And no, it's not competition. You don't want competition in your house. Like Tracy said, you want harmony and peace, and there's room for both of us. But I think that it goes back to who people are individually. Absolutely. You take away the entrepreneurship, you take away, all of that stuff. Who are you really at the end of the day?
I love it. And and we're going to go to break, but I just have to say that this seems to be a common theme with Taunya today. Really looking at who they are and where they're at, and accepting who they are and where they're at, and being willing to adapt to that.
Or not.
Or not.
Or
you don't
not.
always have to adapt.
No.
You don't always have to adapt.
Because that's one of the downfalls of women, is that we adapt too doggone much.
Oh, no. But yes, absolutely. But accepting who they are.
At that season.
At that season.
Right, at that season.
Yeah, she was getting good. Okay, we're going to bring it back down.
Because we're taught to do that. We're taught to, adapt, and you don't like little Susie, you should play with her, you'll like her, and then you grow up hanging around people that you don't like.
Yeah.
No.
See, and my problem is I'm so quick to shut people out. I'm the opposite. I'm like, okay, bye. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right.
And I have to get more in line with what you're saying about, but this is where they are. Yeah. And accept where they are, and then I, maybe decide what I need to do with them.
But then you decide if.
But I don't always have to kick them to the curb.
It took a minute for me to decide if I wanted to adjust. It wasn't on day one.
Right.
It probably took 6 months for me to decide, oh, maybe I should adjust a little bit, because I didn't know if I was gonna keep it, because you asked me what time I'm getting off work. It was like really bothering me. But you don't just. I don't think you just put in 100%, and you got to see, because they may not be worth 100%.
Yeah. No, and see,